winter breeze began to stir around them, carrying with it the scent of blooming flowers and distant lands. The villagers watched in wonder as Mami Wata spoke in a voice that seemed to echo from the depth of. Kofi has returned from his trials with newfound wisdom and strength, she proclaimed, her words ringing clear and true. He has proven himself worthy of the gifts I blessed him with because I saw he has a pure heart. A great celebration was thrown in the village for Kofi's return. The king declared 2 days as a celebration for the entire kingdom. Nobody was allowed to farm, fish, or do any economic activity on those 2 days. After the celebration, Kofi experienced even more blessings than usual. His farm yields and his fishing business grew so much that he was able to hire 10 young boys to work for him. His mother's health improved and she became strong, making it clear that he was highly favored by Mami Wata. Kofi is a kind-hearted man. He regularly gives to those in need, and he willingly offers his time and effort to any youth development initiatives in the village. He has also selflessly trained countless boys in the art of fishing without charging them a fee. Additionally, he takes it upon himself to build and repair homes for widows. In short, Kofi goes out of his way to make sure everyone around him benefits from his generous nature and blessings. Kofi, not everyone admired him. Some villagers harbored a deep hatred for Kofi and plotted to have him exiled by the king, and formed an alliance with evil intentions towards Kofi. They devised a plan to steal the king's staff of authority and hide it under Kofi's bed. One night, they executed their plan by sneaking into the king's chambers and snatching the staff before placing it secretly under Kofi's bed. The next morning, chaos erupted in the village, covered his staff missing. They summoned his council of elders and they concluded that the palace guards will search every house in the village. Kofi was still sound asleep when the palace guards stormed into his house, their armor clanking and their swords drawn. Startled awake by the commotion, Kofi stumbled out of bed, his eyes wide with confusion. The guards wasted no time in tearing through his belongings, tossing aside his meager possessions in their search for the missing staff. His mother wailed in distress, pleading with the guards to stop and insisting on her son's innocence. But the guards were relentless, guilty of this heinous crime. As they approached his bed, Kofi fell to his knees, his heart pounding with fear and disbelief. As one of the guards reached under the bed and retrieved the king's staff, they all shouted in astonishment at what their eyes beheld. Kofi was immediately dragged away and accused of theft. The villagers sang mocking songs as the guards marched him in front of the king. The king's face darkens in anger as he orders for Kofi to be thrown into prison while they wait for his sentencing the next day. The king had a dream that night, where Mami Wata appeared to him. She instructed him not to harm Kofi and told him to summon the chief priest of the neighboring community. Mami Wata promised to reveal how the staff of authority came into Kofi's custody. They appeared to the chief priest and informed him that people from Kofi's village would come for him in the morning. She instructed him to follow them without hesitation and bring a baby fowl, his mirror, and white chalk with him. As the first rooster's crow echoed through the village, the king had already dispatched his guards to the chief priest. They arrived at the shrine and relayed the king's message to the chief priest. The chief priest calmly replied that he was expecting them and proceeded to gather the items that Mami Wata had instructed him to bring. Together, they made their way back to the village. Upon their arrival in the village, Kofi was summoned and forced to kneel before the entirety of the villagers and their king. They to consult the gods and determine whether or not Kofi was guilty, as well as what punishment should be given to him. The chief priest consulted the divination tools, then took out his mirror and showed the king and villagers what had been revealed, 3 men had stolen the king's staff and planted it under Kofi's bed. They intended to get Kofi banned. The entire community gasped in disbelief at how far these men were willing to go to bring down Kofi. His mother ran over and embraced her son with joy as he was declared innocent. To make amends for publicly humiliating Kofi, the king wasted no time in offering his first daughter's hand in marriage to Kofi, knowing he had always admired her. As a sign of acceptance into the royal family, he also adopted Kofi as his son since he had no heir of his own, and named him as the next in line for the throne upon his passing. Following that, Mami Wata continued to shower him with blessings. Everything in his surroundings seemed to radiate good fortune and tranquility were plentiful, his fishing business thrived, and his mother lived happily in her beautiful home, healthy and strong. To top it off, his wife conceived a child. Right after getting married and giving birth to triplets, she became pregnant again. This time she gave birth to quadruplets. Kofi was greatly esteemed, as people paid homage and witnessed the wisdom of the man highly favored by Mami Wata.
Bring it. Yeah, bring it.
Kofi is from a very poor home. He lost his father when he was 10 years old, and his mother refused to sleep with his father's brother, which made him treat Kofi and his mother badly. Kofi was from a riverine area and he grew up and learned fishing. One day he had an encounter with Mami Wata and his fortune was changed. Kofi had always felt a deep connection to the river that flowed near his village. He would spend hours watching the water ripple and swore, feeling a sense of peace wash over him. Despite the hardships he faced at home, the river was his sanctuary. One day, as Kofi was out fishing, he felt a tug on his line unlike any he had ever experienced before. With bated breath, he began to reel in his catch, only to find a beautiful woman emerging from the water. Her skin was as smooth as polished ebony, and her long hair cascaded down her back like a water. Mami Wata, Kofi whispered in awe, recognizing the river goddess who was said to bring both fortune and misfortune to those she encountered. The goddess smiled at him, her eyes holding a wisdom beyond his years. "You have shown great reverence for the river, Kofi," she said in a voice like the gentle rush of water over stones. "I have been watching you from the depths, and I see the struggles you face in your daily life. But fear not, for I have come to offer you a gift." With a wave of her hand, Mami Wata produced a shimmering pearl from the folds of her flowing gown. She placed it in Kofi's palm, and as he looked down at the iridescent orb, he felt a surge of warmth spreading through him. "This pearl holds the power to bring abundance to your life," Mami Wata explained. "Keep it close to you, and good fortune will follow wherever you go." Overwhelmed with gratitude, Kofi bowed low before the goddess, his heart brimming with hope for the first time in years. As Mami Wata disappeared back into the depths of the river, he clutched the pearl tightly, knowing that his life would never be the same again. From that day on, Kofi's fishing nets were always full to bursting, his catches larger and more bountiful than anyone in the village had ever seen. The pearl seemed to radiate a magic that drew the fish to him, as if they were offering themselves willingly to his skillful hands. Word of quickly, and soon people from neighboring villages would travel far and wide to witness the miracle for themselves. But no matter how many times Kofi tried to explain that it was Mami Wata's blessing that had brought him such prosperity, they would simply shake their heads in disbelief. As the days turned into weeks and then months, Kofi's humble shanty transformed into a thriving home filled with warmth and abundance. He made sure his mother never wanted for anything, and the villagers marveled at the change that had come over the once struggling family. But with great fortune came great envy, and soon whispers began to circulate that Kofi's success was not natural, that he must have struck a dark bargain with malevolent forces to achieve such wealth. The villagers' rumors reached Mami Wata's ears, and she knew that Kofi's newfound happiness was in danger. So one moonlit night, she appeared to him in a dream, her ethereal form glowing with an otherworldly light. "Kofi, dear child," she whispered, her voice a gentle breeze in his mind. "The time has come for you to prove your purity of heart and intentions. The doubts of the villagers threaten the very gift I bestowed upon you." Kofi's heart raced as he listened to the goddess's words, a knot of fear tightening in his chest. He knew that if he were unable to dispel the suspicion surrounding him, not only would he lose everything he had gained, but his connection to Mami Wata could be severed forever. Determined to clear his name and honor the river goddess who had changed his life, Kofi set out at dawn to seek the wisdom of the village elder, a revered man known for his insight and fairness. Kofi traveled to see the wise village elder. The village elder welcomed Kofi into his hut, his eyes twinkling in warmth as he listened to the young man's tale. As Kofi poured out his heart, recounting the miraculous encounter with Mami Wata and the subsequent suspicion. But as with all gifts of great power, there will always be those who seek to sow seeds of doubt and jealousy. He paused, his gaze piercing through Kofi's turmoil. "To prove your integrity and commitment to Mami Wata, you must undergo a trial that will test your resolve and purity of heart. Only then can the truth be revealed to all." Kofi nodded solemnly, steeling himself for whatever challenge lay ahead. The village elder instructed Kofi to embark on a journey to the sacred waterfall nestled deep within the heart of the forest. It was said that the waters of the waterfall held the power to reveal one's true intentions and nature, and only those who were pure of heart could withstand its judgment. With a determined spirit, Kofi set out into the dense jungle, his footsteps echoing through the ancient trees as he made his way towards the distant roar of cascading water. The path was treacherous, winding its way through thick undergrowth and over slippery rocks, but Kofi pressed on, his mind focused on the task ahead. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of travel, Kofi emerged into a small clearing where the sacred waterfall stood in all its majestic glory. The water thundered down from high above, casting a shimmering mist over the rocks below. Taking a deep breath to steady himself, Kofi stepped into the icy waters of the pool at the base of the waterfall, and felt a surge of energy course through his body. The water seemed to come alive around him, swirling and dancing as if in greeting. Kofi closed his eyes and let the cool spray wash over him, cleansing him of all doubts and fears. As he stood under the powerful cascade, a vision began to form in his mind's eye, a vision of his past, present, and future intertwining like